G'day and welcome back for more Mission Improbable. Last time I left my dragonfly out with no power, and today's plan is to recover that. And step one for that is going to be getting this hydrogen tank off the roof of my truck and building a hydrogen tank onto the base. And that means building a hydrogen tank and having a look at my G menu and noticing that it's quite broken. I've lost some of my things. I was definitely able to build some of the things, but not only have I lost some things, I've gained some too. I gained solar panels, and I gained cameras, and I gained weapons. I think Grind to Learn is very confused right now. It's all very odd. I don't know how it's happened. The thing that makes it even stranger is, if I go back to the very first save of this series, I still have the exact G menu that I have right now. Even with a restart of Space Engineers, still the same G menu. So something has gone very awry with the mod and the things that it's got in it. Which means, unfortunately, I'm going to have to get rid of Grind to Learn. There is another similar mod out there that's in early development, but having tested it just today, it's still got a few too many bugs for me to use in the series. Especially one where I've already dealt with two like this already. My solution is I've removed the mod, so I've got access to every block here, everything is in here. But I'm going to keep a list of gameplay changing blocks that I can't build. And as I find them, I will remove them from this list and allow myself to build them. This is going to create a lot more challenge for me to keep track of what I can and can't build. But if you can think of anything that I haven't added to this list that I should add to this list, let me know. And I'll make sure to add it in if I think it's something that actually affects gameplay. So like things like any decorative blocks, they don't affect gameplay, so I'm just going to allow myself to have them. But things like a survival kit, that's going to change gameplay a lot for me here, so I don't get access to those. Solar panels I don't have access to, I should probably put them on there. But yeah, if you've got any other things that should be on here, let me know, and I will add them to there. But for now, I need to decide where I'm going to put my fuel storage. I think for now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little hydrogen tank off here, and I'll move it around later once I decide where I really want to have it. Because I don't want to spend too much time messing around with getting this thing made when it's delaying me offloading the truck. There we go, tank's empty. The simplest and most straightforward plan for recovering the Dragonfly is going to be to use a connector on this truck to transfer some power to it. So that I don't have to drive out there and then fly out there with my jetpack though, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a connector on the top here so I can land the Dragonfly on the truck, which is why I wanted to get rid of the tank, once it's got enough power to even fly to land on top. Because I don't think it has enough power to do that right now. It had only a few seconds of power when it was actually using its thrusters when I landed it. There we go, Dragonfly 7 kilometers out. Let's go! That's right, there's a distress signal out there too. Rescue the Dragonfly, go to the distress signal. Rescue the Dragonfly, go to the distress signal. Which should I do? I should probably rescue it. Oh, actually, if I can get the Dragonfly on the roof, then I can do both. Doesn't need too much power to be able to get on the roof. There we go. Connectors on. Let's get that on my hopper so I can see when it gets in range. It's just near my searchlight, so hopefully... There we go. Locked. Okay. Battery recharge. One of the things to keep in mind when you're transferring power from battery to battery is this: charge efficiency. I am losing some of the power that I have by transferring it from one battery to another battery. I've got the wind turbines and I can make some more, so it's not really a big deal. But if you're in a situation where you don't have a renewable source of power, this charge loss, losing 20% of your energy transferring from one thing to another, it actually kind of adds up, and it hurts. All right, 200 kilowatts should be enough. Let's see if I can get myself parked on the roof. Oh, apparently I didn't put the parking brake on. Let's park on level ground, or at least more level than that. So that'll make my life easier. There we go, lined up. And locked. Turn the dampeners off and I can hop out. Nice. That's actually parked on there in a pretty perfect position in the end. I'm happy with that. That is good enough to drive. So I'm going to take this with me and I'm going to investigate that distress signal. And after this distress signal, I'm going to try and use the contract system to see if I can find some more salvage. I've added a couple of mods that allow you to restrict the missions to just planetary-based ones, which I think is great for when you're starting out on a planet because you don't want to have to wait. I want to be able to do these missions. Like having the waiting time I don't think adds any meaningful gameplay. So I'm looking forward to doing some salvage runs and other things that these planetary-only missions should allow me to do. When driving towards an objective, it helps if you go the correct way, not driving with your HUD off and in spectator camera. Whoops. Okay, that was a bit of a stressful jump. I'd had such a clean run, I was cruising along at 38 meters a second. I'm like, oh, it'll be fine. There are no craters around here. There aren't, but that was still a drop. I have almost arrived at the destination though. Okay, what do we have here? That looks like an O2H2 gen. Oh, that was another thing I didn't have. Now I got one of those. What do we have here? So we do have an O2H2 gen, so I've unlocked that. Excellent, that wasn't on my list. An interior turret! I get interior turrets, I've got meteor protection! Yes! Cool. Well, O2H2 gen and turret. And my guess with the grind to learn is that if I got any turret, I was going to get all the turrets. Oh, 150 power cells. That's generous. Claim that old grid. Actually, it's probably time for me to just start grinding the thing down. Getting it all into the cargo. See what other blocks we come across as I go through. Well, that means I never have to go back to that fuel depot. As a few people joked that as soon as I turned off that GPS, well, he's never going back there. Well, now that I've got an O2H2 gen, I don't need to. I can mine it instead. Oh, elite pistol. Trying to keep a close eye on what I'm grinding, but it's not in my usual habit. I was trying to conserve my hydrogen, but then I realized, oh wait, there's an O2H2 gen there with a battery attached to it. I can refill whenever I like. Because I've got a bottle now. Oh. And a cryo room. Well, I don't have to grind down my own one to unlock those. Not that I was going to now, but what I would have had to before. I've got the parts for another cryo room. Nice. There's a small part of me that's tempted to try and set up this so that the truck is connected to that battery, but then there's another part of me that's like, you've already ground down half of this thing. It's not going to be lasting much longer. I say that. I haven't gotten to the juicy block in the middle of the giant flatmo.
Inventory.
The components
full.
that's going to take, and I may end up full before then. There we go. The whole thing's ground down. A bunch of the components are in here. And that's nearly full, actually. But that's because the truck's full, so I'm going to have to mark this and come back and get these bits. But that was a pretty good haul. I'm pretty happy with that. Managed to collect... Assuming I make it back intact, let's not jump to too many conclusions, but assuming I make it back intact, I have collected the dragonfly and I've collected a bunch more materials for building the base, and now I can build an O2H2 gen, and I can build some interior turrets on the base and buy some ammo, so I can be a bit more confident that I'm going to survive a meteor shower. All that beef raining on down. Alrighty, just got to get this parked up. Make sure I don't get too close to anything, because I don't really know my clearances left and right now. I reckon I should have enough power to get over there. Yeah, got a few minutes. That'll be plenty. And docked. And recharge. Sweet. Let's offload the truck, head back out, grab the last of the stuff, bring it on home, and get to do some building. Alrighty, everything's home. Let's get it all across. And look at that, 5,600 steel plate. That's a pretty good start on a base there. 6 medical components already, because of the 3 I bought. Oh, I should put the rover's battery on recharge as well, because I got the one on the dragonfly on recharge too. Now, what I wanted to work on here, and thankfully it's coming to daytime, so it's the perfect time to do it, is I want to build a hangar There's an every chance that I'm going to completely redesign this whole base for this new idea that I have. We will see. So I think the hangar area kind of needs to be at least 3 blocks high and probably 5 blocks wide. Maybe 7. Give myself a nice wide space, yeah. Then I'm thinking this could actually look better if I put my living quarters on top of it. So instead of just stopping here and being like, yep, that's a flat box that I've got to make interesting, let's make it taller. So I'll lay out about the dimensions I need, and then we can start carving into it and adding more bits on. So the idea for my living quarters was to make it as an elevated section here. Its floor will probably not be the ceiling of the hangar though, because that would limit what I can do with it. So its floor is actually going to be yet another block higher than that, which is something that I wouldn't normally do, and was highlighted in a comment that maybe the issue I have with designing hangars is that I think in walls that are a single block thick. And if you think instead in walls that are 2 blocks thick, or 1.5, you can end up with much more interesting shapes. So if I put this extra layer of blocks here, I can now cut in to the floor and put different flooring there, as well as putting cut-ins or additions or changing up the blocks for the ceiling of the hangar, giving me flexibility for both and making both probably more interesting. I'm placing this out with all full blocks for now, just to get the rough shape and see if I'm happy with it, and then I can start adding some details. So the first detail I wanted to add was a bit of a corner shield piece almost, that's going to stick out on this corner and wrap around onto the side. So I think I'll do those with, starting with these guys and the half slabs. Let's get color so we can see them even when they're unwelded. My hope is that by placing this out first, as I get further into designing my living space and designing the hangar space, some of these half blocks can be replaced by windows and other bits and pieces that occupy that same volume, allowing me to use the full block that's behind it as part of the living space, and just to break these shapes up as well. I think I've probably put too much of the cladding on, but I'm gonna leave it for now and tweak it as I go. But this should give you a bit of an idea of what I'm imagining. There'll be these shapes that extrude from the building, and covering the more neutral colored walls that'll be a light gray, and then we get these blue, similar-ish to what's going on over here. I'm trying to see if I can adapt it to a bit of a different style. Like, I quite like that these windows fit into that shape well, and I'll try and see where I can do that, just with a more stocky and blocky design at the basis of it. Because every time you build a hangar, you end up with something stocky. It's just how it goes. Because they're just such a large volume that you need. Yeah, there we go. I've given it some extra verticality with the fake antenna and then a real one next to it. I think the irregularity of this is going to work. I think some of the shapes might need to change size. They might need to be shrunk or carved out a little bit. Maybe I'll need to take out a strip of one or paint it in white. A different shade of grey or something like that compared to the regular walls. But I'm pretty happy with this as a shape of a building that is mostly empty space. The challenge I have now is deciding which parts to actually bother welding up to begin with. What functionality should I go for first? I'm kind of thinking getting a cryo tube on there and getting some O2H2 gens functioning and maybe try and get my clone going should be step one. So I might start actually welding from the top down, because I'm probably going to run out of resources before I get through the whole thing. I was just thinking, as I was looking at this, one of the reasons that I may have ended up placing more of these cladding pieces than I needed was that I wasn't accounting for other ways to break up a wall that might be useful as I go and build this. Because mostly what this is trying to do is, when you look at this, instead of just seeing a straight up block, you see these different shapes and it kind of breaks it all up nicely. But similarly, I can have conveyors running down the side. You look over here, and the station over here, it's got pipes, it's got neons, it's got lights and different bits sticking out of the place. It's really quite handy having this right next to my base. Oh yeah, look over here, using the cargo containers pattern. The reason that came to mind just then was that I was thinking about how I was going to get the conveyor linkage up to it so I can get the cryotube piped. Because it's going to need to have resources piped to it, it's going to need to have the food and water and oxygen stuff. I think it's just food and oxygen. I should check. That should be important to check before I try and grow the clone. A lot of the steel plate that I'm using to build this up will get ground down and replaced once I've put in the internals. I just want to try this as a new method of building where I just place down cubes and minimal other shapes so that I've got a decent looking exterior. So the last time I sort of built something a bit like this, in this manner I mean, where I've set the exterior shape first and then tried to fill it in a way that's interesting, was a ship, which meant that the exterior design was a lot less flexible in terms of where I could put extra little bits of detailing and greeble, stuff that's going to break up those big surfaces. Because the last time I did this, for those of you who watched Assertive Acquisitions, was the Skywarp. I built the exterior first, and then I added an interior later. I had all these massive voids to fill inside. In this case though, unlike the Skywarp, if I want to pop out through a wall, I can, because it's not going to harm the overall look, because it'll actually be favorable for this building to have bits that pop out and extra little details and breaks here and there. Right, I'm now starting to run low on steel plate, so I'll stop welding up there. But I think this angle gives you a decent idea of what I'm going for. I'm going to try and build this up one more layer and see if that helps this. Or if I need to, maybe I need to cut this corner in a bit. I just cut that shape a bit shorter because it was sort of, I think it was lining up too much with the raised section that the antennas are on, which are probably going to get shaped a bit to not be full cubes, but I wanted to just start with full cubes for quick shaping. But this gives a much clearer idea of what I'm talking about. Now we can go inside, clear out the blocks that don't need to be there, because we've got an external wall. Do I have any around this side? I don't think I do. I think that's all. Yeah, that's all full. So what do I need in here? I only need to have a cryotube.
No energy.
Speaking of cryotubes, gimme. In. No, wrong thing. Oh, all my bonus health is gone. I'd been building that up for a while. That sucks. Other than a cryotube in here, I may eventually want to have a little farm, although maybe I could build an extension, a little greenhouse, just even though you don't need the light. I think it could look kind of nice to have a windowed section that sticks out this side where the... Oh, maybe I build that now and I just plan around that. Ooh. I like that idea. Cut out these bits. It comes out another block. And this gets replaced with these guys. Oh, actually, that's not going to work, is it? I'm not going to be able to make that airtight. Oh, yeah, I should be able to. Now, how many girders do I have? Do I have enough girders to do this? I've gotten sidetracked from my actual project. Oh, I don't have many girders. Okay. So, this place is not going to be airtight anytime soon. That's fine. Alright, windows. Stick with just doing them with 1 by 1s to make life easier. So we go one in there, and we go the invert on that side. That'll be airtight across there. Same at this level. It's going to suck if I want to put anything on that block. But I do kind of like that slope of the purple bit going down there. Purpley, bluey bit. Is that going to look better with... Yeah, I think that works quite nicely. Neon tubes for support at the moment. Oh, I actually kind of like that this looks at the station too. That wasn't planned. That was just happy coincidence. Ah, I've run out of... Do you sell girders? You don't sell girders, do you? Item search. Offer. Girder. Oh, you do? You're selling girders? Yeah! Gimme! I want them. I wants them. What's the girder? Is that going to fit? Oh, that's a lot of money. No, we're not buying that many. I'll just buy 60 for now. Maybe 120. Maybe 180. No, not enough space. Okay, never mind. 120 it is. Man, I'm glad I set up at this station, not at the other one. The other one just did, like, not having a component station makes a huge difference. There we go. So that's my little greenhouse extension. Not enough girders to build all that up. But that's okay. So let's come back inside. Now that I've put that in there, this gives me a bit of clarity about what's going to fit in here. Oh, that's the other thing I'll probably need to do is I'll probably need to put glass in there. These do need to be square blocks for this to be airtight. Unfortunately. So it'll look a bit strange, but I think it'll be okay. So we've got a little mini greenhouse here. And then we have, or it'll be just my morning where I sit down and have my breakfast. Who knows? It can see, it could just be my sunroom. Why don't I go for the cryopods in a little room in here? I think we're gonna go the lab vat, just because they're the coolest looking cryo tube. And I'm gonna need to have multiple of these, because ideally I would be able to grow more than one clone. So that if I die in quick succession, it's not all just a complete disaster. Let's figure out this window situation before I pop that in. Also have a look at this from outside. Do you know what? I'm not going to put a window in there. What I'm going to do instead is take advantage of the backing of this tube. I'm going to go 1, 2...
Inventory full.
3. And I might...
Inventory full. Inventory
see how this
full.
looks if I put a second row on top. Obviously I can't build all these right now. I'm just planning for a future where I might need to respawn this many times. Because would that look alright? I think it could. And I'm not sure I need to have much more than like a little catwalk that went up there. And then on the outside here, I'm going to grab the tubes. Where are they? These pipes. I'm going to have these run down the side. Because I think that'll look pretty cool. It's a nice bold bit of detail. And I can have it run into, say, the hangar here. Run it through the wall. You can run it right down to underground, potentially. But I think I'll go so that it can run in the ceiling of the hangar. So it goes to there. Go like that. And then I like doing one little T-piece at the end where I can then put one of these guys. Because you can do it in a different color and it stands out quite nicely. But I think that'll break up that wall really well. While also being functional. I'll replace this with a junction for the moment. Yeah. I reckon this is going to come together pretty well. So I went inside and bought enough girders to finish up all of the glass from the girder perspective, but I've already run out of bulletproof glass. Just building that much. I don't think I saw glass for sale. No. So I'll have to wait till I can grind down some more of that, but I'm pretty happy with how this has come together. I think this has got some promise, and I'm hopeful that I can apply this sort of building strategy to buildings in lots of different bases and come up with different shapes. This is my first time doing it, so I'm very much cribbing hard off what Aragath built with this station. I assume it was Aragath because he built a lot of them. But hopefully, as this is something that I do a bit more of, we'll come up with different, more interesting, more exciting designs. I'm tempted to give this just a subtle bit of a yellow. Maybe something like that. Just to make it stand out a little bit more. So that might be a little... Yeah, maybe going darker grey is a better option. We'll take that out and we'll go darker. Have a quick look at that. Yeah, maybe the darker is better. Sweet. I've run out of steel plates, so let's have a look at what contracts are available. Got acquisition contract, got a search contract, got a salvage contract, planet. 87 kilometers away. Oh boy. 107 kilometers away. Oh boy. 119 kilometers away. Uh-oh. Okay. I want to do one of these. I think I should accept all three. There's no time limit on them. I reckon I should drive and do all 3. Let's go accept. Yes. Contract no longer available. Oh, I was staring at it for too long. But on the plus side, that one's close. Yeah, let's do that one and then we'll come back and decide if we want to do the others. Okay, cool. I have a close mission, and that sets me up nicely for next time and what I'm going to be heading off to do. I'll be back with some more Mission Improbable very soon, and I will see you then.